Well, the Biden-Harris team is adding hundreds of members to its transition team as it prepares for the White House, though still not getting much from the Trump administration in the process. President Trump pushes forward with unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud. President-elect Biden is sending a direct message to his soon-to-be predecessor. Ed O'Keefe reports.
I just think it's an embarrassment. Quite frankly.
President-elect Joe Biden Tuesday criticized President Trump's refusal to concede the election.
I think it will not help the president's legacy.
But said he didn't need the president's cooperation.
Not of much consequence in our planning and what we're able to do between now and January 20th.
That includes agency review teams that will be responsible for helping the Biden administration get a handle on all aspects of the federal government, including management of the pandemic, the economic crisis, and systemic racism. On Tuesday, Mr. Biden received congratulatory calls from key allies like British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and French President Emmanuel Macron.
Ready to congratulate you.
I'm letting them know that America's back. We're going to be back in the game. It's not American alone.
But a transition official tells CBS News that Mr. Biden is being denied customary assistance from the State Department for these calls.
Denying a lawful transition is a threat to our national security and to the rule of law.
Trump administration officials' refusal to ascertain a winner also means the Biden-Harris transition team is being denied access to classified information and to roughly $6.3 million from Congress to pay for transition activities. Biden says he isn't worried.
Look, access to classified information is useful, but I'm not in a position to make any decisions on those issues anyway. There's one, as I said, one president at a time, and he will be president until January 20th.
On Tuesday, the Supreme Court heard the latest legal challenge to the Affordable Care Act, and Mr. Biden attacked the Trump administration's latest attempts to strike down the law.
The consequences of the Trump administration's argument are not academic or an abstraction. For many Americans, they are a matter of life and death in a literal sense.
So Ed joins me now from Wilmington, Delaware. Ed, and let's talk a little bit about what you finished off with in your story, the future of the Affordable Care Act. It still remains up in the air. President-elect Biden said that his transition team already working on a health care plan. But I wonder about what his prospects are looking forward when it comes to working with Congress. The Democrats lost seats in the House. The Senate is still sort of up in the air, but there's a good likelihood that Republicans will maintain the majority. Biden wants to double down on the Affordable Care Act. Republicans have been trying to dismantle it since its inception. What's the likelihood of Biden getting anything done?
Well, good morning, Anne-Marie. We're kind of excited here because the rowers actually timed their passage here in the river just perfectly for us. We wanted to show you we're making full use of our spread here on top of the AAA offices in Wilmington. As for the future of the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, thank you. Yes, we timed that for you. Look, the president-elect talks about what he likes to call Biden care, taking the Affordable Care Act and essentially trying to expand it to include a public option, or essentially an expansion of the Medicare program, which was a big hang-up when the law was created about 10 years ago now. And it's something that he thinks should be added to it and would sort of reflect the will of a lot of Democrats who want to see an expanded government-backed option. But as you mentioned, it's going to be difficult with a potentially Republican-controlled Senate, with a narrowly divided House of Representatives, where a lot of members are going to be worried about their re-election 2 years from now, and with so many other things that also have to be addressed: the future of the pandemic, the economic recovery, Biden's promises on issues like immigration. So it's somewhat unclear where that would fit in with everything else. And I don't think we're going to have a good sense of what's possible, really, until those Georgia Senate seats are settled. We have a sense of who's in charge of the Senate and what other major domestic priorities or issues there are that are going to have to be sorted out.
Yeah, a few more months to go, not till January. So in a Washington Post op-ed, former chiefs of staff Andy Card and John Podesta, who worked for George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, respectively, They criticized the Trump administration's stalling of the transition, and they said that this situation is not the same as what happened in 2000, which I think we've gone over, but claimed that the delay really hurt national security at the time, especially in preparations that could have potentially thwarted the 9/11 attacks. So I want to hear about, what you're hearing in terms of concerns from the Biden team. Are they concerned about this delay hindering national security? We're in this sort of awkward situation where a number of world leaders have already reached out to the president-elect with the assumption that, well, like many other people, that, he is the future president, but the current president isn't acknowledging that.
Yeah. Well, and first of all, we know now, CBS News has learned that the State Department isn't involved in those calls that the president-elect is conducting with world leaders. Usually, there would be diplomats listening in to keep an eye on the consistency of U.S. policy. They might be transcribing the calls for future records or offering translation services. But in this case, it's our understanding the State Department isn't involved because the Trump administration, as you pointed out, is holding back and telling agencies not to engage the Biden-Harris transition team yet, as the president continues to push for recounts and for other legal recourse. Yes, several Biden transition officials have pointed to the 2000 transition and the issues that happened there, the truncated nature of it, and what happened just less than a year later on 9/11 as one of the many examples of concerns they've got about potential problems that could arise in the new administration once it begins. And so, the fact that they don't have full access yet to agencies also means they don't have full access to classified or top secret information. They can't submit names for background briefings. They can't have access to secure facilities, in addition to all the other aspects of government. So yes, there is big concern about the potential national security implications, in addition to concerns with what it could mean for the economy, what it could mean for the health of Americans with the pandemic still raging, and the transition team unable to get a good sense of what the current administration is doing to deal with it.
All great points. I think it's easy to dismiss some of this as perhaps theater, as some of these lawsuits sort of fall by the wayside or fail. But there are real implications that we could be looking at, particularly as this drags on. Ed, thank you so much.